Hi, talking about velocity, I think. There's a girl in a swing. How many people remember being pushed in a swing and actually feeling, do it faster, louder? This thing about velocity fascinates me. It doesn't fascinate only me, but it is beautiful. It is a happy moment. And I think one of the things that I would like to bring to this is that cities are for people, but they're about happiness. You get happy cities and you get sad cities. And if they're sad, don't go there. Futurism is something that I am fascinated by because I want to think of the future, it be modern. This was about velocity as well. It's about speed. And speed is something that is really important to us because it's out with our kind of realm. Mr. Taylor, do you know Mr. Taylor? Kind of efficiency movement. Read that statement. I find that effing scary. That is the beginning of the destruction of what people have been talking about. Whether it's cars or whatever, it's about being efficient. And this is where we get to. People talk about silos. I'm the placemaker. About places, people, and the people that run our countries, our universities and our cities, are people that deal with money. They count beans, and they think we're jokes. But this is where the value is. Everybody's been talking about, in a way, value and quality. Value and quality, whether it's about shoe leather or whatever, is about people. So this is the way I feel when I walk around cities across the world. And some cities are changing, but it's like, stick an iron to your face, because what we've done to our places is really awful. Whether it's the car park that's over there, the traffic junction, or whatever, we've actually forgotten what it's about. This is what makes things work. I work for a city, I do work across the world, and it's the big sheds that make the money, and the logistics that allows you to get there, increase CO2 emissions, spend the money, and make somebody wealthy. It doesn't make you happy, and that's really, really sad. Cities are for people. Lots of people have been talking about it. Picture of Edinburgh. Edinburgh's actually quite a good place, really. I have to say that. Pay my mortgage. But it is about people. And we need to understand who we are and what we are, because I think we've totally forgotten about that. About 6 million years ago, we started to walk. And it's really important. Because when we started to walk, something changed. Our brains changed. There's evidence to prove this. The fact that we started to walk was the beginning of culture. And the next slide, I'm suffering from the same problem as you want. I want to move this one forward. We used to operate in the reptilian brain, which is a very primeval element. It's still there. It's about instinct. And we started to think from the central cortex. That's tied with us walking. That's the beginning of culture. We started to vocalize, we started to write, we started to dance, we started to create places. And places are really important to us. We interpret everything, and this is the skinny version, this is the Italian version. We started to interpret things. Everything that we do is shaped by our brains. How do we know that's there? We only know that's there because our brain tells us it's there. We measure things, we perceive things, and it's all to do with our brains. Related to walking, Francesco Carreri, an Italian landscape designer, came up with this. He had this book, and he says walking is the first aesthetic practice. As we started to walk, we had to remember where we were going, so we break a branch, we put a couple of rocks together to remind us where we were going. So we started to manipulate our environment, and that environment is really important to us. We have a running speed. Our maximum speed is around 20 kilometers an hour. Very important to understand that. Velocity, we're not very fast beings. Our technology allows us to go very fast. It's exhilarating. But there are other things that come with this notion of velocity, that we want to do everything very, very quickly. We're designed to withstand impacts at 20 kilometers an hour. We used to chase prey down. If we bounced off a tree, we're designed to be able to stand up and keep running. That's about understanding what we are as human beings. So if we allow things to go faster than 20 miles an hour, it imposes an imminent threat to us. And that's where the conflict is. 6 million years later, we're still soft, cuddly things. We've not changed. We've got iPhones, we've got iPads, we've got all sorts of groovy stuff, but we're exactly the same. The way we perceive place and space, the way we relate to humans, I don't really care about Facebook, Twitter and all those kind of things. This is what's important. Being able to touch somebody, be able to smell somebody, whether they smell good or bad, be able to look at somebody is critically important to the way we shape our environment. Once we input velocity into this, our senses diminish. At speed, we don't understand the world that we're in, and it creates a lot of stress. So if you think about Taylor, and you think about this guy, whether you liked him or not, I just like the statement. What we have created in terms of Taylorism, velocity and efficiency, is that we give the world to accountants, to the bean counters. That's what runs the world. That's why we get all these decisions that are made. You know, and Mr. Jobs said, local authorities, municipalities, governments do the same old shit because it's proven and you can bank on it. What we need is some of the crazy new shit. And it's actually not that crazy. It's about stripping back the layers, going back to who we are. You know, you talked about shoe leather, picked an Italian car obviously, that burns oil and costs you money. Don't get me wrong, I actually quite like driving. But there is a serious issue about the pressure that brings on all of our environments. And that's not purely the physical environments, intellectual environments as well. This can look good, but the reality is whether you walk or you cycle, it actually keeps you healthier. But it actually allows your senses to function the way we are designed, so that you can actually smell the person. You can see something that you may or may not fancy. And the whole point of this, that's the point of this conversation in terms of what Dominic's saying, is we need to actually stop abdicating responsibility, and we need to actually go there and grab the places back. So what Ian was saying earlier, we know it works. New York's doing it. If it can happen in New York, it can happen anywhere. We need to actually go out there, tell our politicians to grow some balls, and actually make the right decisions that deliver the kind of places that we know that we want.